The world has turned upside down. I don't even recognize our country sometimes. The Department of Justice is a complete clown show. We are going to be going into some of the biggest stories in the news today. And to help me with that, I have my guest, AJ Rice. AJ, thank you so much for joining me.
Steve, great to be here, brother. Always a pleasure.
So let me give just an introduction to my community. And, you know, yours is one of the few introductions where I actually use a whole bunch of other people's names to say why you are important. But Rice has been the brand manager for Laura Ingraham, Judge Jeanine Pirro, Donald Trump Jr., Monica Crowley, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, Senator Marsha Blackburn, Vivek Ramaswamy, Tulsi Gabbard, Carrie Lake, Dan Bongino, Steve Scalise, Dr. Ben Carson, the Hodge twins, Buck Sexton, Ben Stein, Steve Hilton, Alan Dershowitz, Bobby Kennedy Jr., Dr. Peter Navarro, on and on and on and on. You have just rubbed shoulders with some of the most incredible people, helping them get their ideas out. One thing that I wanted to get your thoughts on is I have to laugh. The Biden team, they're so busy, changing America that they forgot to put Joe Biden on the ballot in Ohio. And my first thought was, wow, Trump gets to easily pick up 18 electoral votes. We didn't weaponize the Justice Department against him. He's just a moron who forgot to register. Then Republicans go into overdrive to get Joe Biden on the ballot. Meanwhile, the Democrats are frothing at the mouth. You know, they tried to take Trump off the ballot in Colorado, Maine, Illinois, California, and a few other states. What are your thoughts on Republicans working overtime to save Joe Biden from his own ineptitude?
Yeah, I think, in fact, they did this also in New Hampshire. I think they forgot to put him on the ballot in New Hampshire. I mean, look, most of the country forgets Joe Biden's there. Joe forgets he's there. Jill forgets he's there. Kamala doesn't forget because she's always walking in front of him, dropping banana peels when he's at the top of the steps. But I'm not shocked. Now, when you say the Republicans are trying to get him on the ballot in Ohio, you're talking about like never Trumper people? Is that what you're talking about?
Well,
I hadn't read that part.
Governor Wine or DeWine. Like, no. In order to have this be fair, he has to be on there.
I see. I see. So we're going to rush in and save them from their own incompetence. I will say, I like to hear what J.D. Vance thinks. I think J.D. Vance, I don't know whether you're going to ask me this, but my sources tell me he is at the top of the food chain for the VP slot. But if Biden's not on the ballot, you don't need Vance to deliver Ohio. Not that Ohio has really become a swing state anymore. Ohio has kind of moved out of the purple, lean red to just full-blown red. And if you look at electoral maps, the last time around, I think was the first time ever that a Republican lost, supposedly, the general election and won Ohio. Usually, when you win Ohio and Florida, you win the presidency. But because of the shenanigans and because of the Zucker boxes and because of redistricting and because of the tenement vote, mail-in voting because of COVID and all the other things that, we don't have enough time for today, Trump was able to win Florida and Ohio and supposedly, according to the Magic 8 Ball, lose the general election. So it's interesting. I mean, DeWine's kind of a little hack. He's less in the J.D. Vance category of things, or, Vivek's from Ohio too. Would love to see him run for governor of Ohio. Rob Portman and DeWine, John Kasich, the tweaker, the guy that tweaks, he's sitting in the IHOP by himself, tweaking in the booth. DeWine kind of is cut from that cloth and less in the J.D. Vance mold. So, Ohio needs more Vivek and more J.D. Vance and a little less of the, purple people eater, good times, let's all get along, garbage. Because as you know, and this audience knows, The left is not trying to accommodate us with anything. They're not going to fight for us to get on any ballot anywhere. If Trump wanted to run for dog catcher in Toledo, they would not help him get on the ballot. So enough already.
Yeah. It just shocked me that, I get, it's like, okay, let's have a fair fight. They don't want a fair fight. They want definitely an unfair fight. But, going back to your thoughts on winning Ohio and Florida over the last 60 years, if you did that, you became president. What shocked me more was that Biden, and people can Google this, lost 18 of the 19 bellwether counties. Meaning, if you got those counties, you became president. He lost 18 of the 19 and miraculously got enough ballots to be president of the United States.
That's right. And he did it all from the basement in Delaware, filling his diaper, falling off bikes, and supposedly got more votes than, the great savior, Barack Obama. So, are you going to tell me that this guy got more votes than anybody in history? It's amazing. It's amazing that we're all just sort of shuffling about like Biden, the reanimated corpse. And we believe that we're living inside, the reality where this country was screaming out desperately that it needed more Joe Biden and that we couldn't wait to elect him. Really? We need more Joe Biden like we need, Stevie Wonder flying Boeing airplanes. We do not need more Joe Biden. And you all know it. Deep down in your heart, you all know it. And I think, look, there's some buyer's remorse out there. A lot of communities that usually vote Democrat are having second thoughts. Because, old Uncle Cracker, Joe Biden, who's never, signed the front of a paycheck, him and his gangster brother and his, degenerate son, they've been grifting us. They've been grifting Catholics for a long time. Oh, the second Catholic president after JFK. Right. Malarkey, right? And then, they've been grifting people of color, Hispanic community, black community, people of Scranton. I've heard enough. The people of Scranton would rather elect Michael Scott from Dunder Mifflin Paper Company than elect Joe Biden. Okay? I'm from Pennsylvania. I know Scranton very well. They have had it with it. And I think that, the jig is up here with Blue Collar Joe riding the Amtrak every day. I think they know he's shot. So let's see how many counties this time he has to lose in order to win.
Yeah, good point. All right. Congresswoman Blunt Rochester of Delaware said, Americans have too many struggles to be able to clearly see how many incredible things Biden has done for them.
Wow.
So she blames us.
Wait a minute. What's her name? Her name?
Blunt Rochester.
Her first name is Blunt, like smoke a blunt?
Like smoking a blunt. Yeah, what are we smoking to not see how many good things Biden has done for us through our struggles?
That's right. We can't see it. We can't see the magnificence around us.
Yes.
The great gardens of paradise in Babylon that have sprouted up in the black community being flooded by illegal aliens, or in the Hispanic community being flooded by fentanyl and sex traffickers along the Rio Grande Valley. That's right. She's bluntly dumb or she's smoking a big fatty. She might be smoking a big fatty blunt. You never know. What a dummy. But look, this is where they're going to go. They're going to basically say that we're all too stupid to realize the magnificence among us, because everyone's having such a great time that we have to fake vote for him again. So we'll see what happens in November.
Yeah.
To put it bluntly.
Yeah, to put it bluntly. It was just like, hey, listen, I caused a lot of your financial problems, and now you're not thanking me? Like, you guys passed several multi-trillion-dollar bills. It would have been more, even worse inflation if Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema hadn't said, wait a minute, no. And also, I don't think I want to be a Democrat anymore. You guys are insane. They tried to lie to us that Biden inherited 9% inflation when, in fact, Trump left office at 1.4% inflation. And last I checked, when the dollar store went from $1 to $1.25, that's not 9%. That's 25%. The U.S. government lies in order to not have to put 60 million Americans on Social Security at a higher affordable paycheck. That's why they lied about this garbage. But for her to say, we've put all this fog in and these financial troubles, these kitchen table problems, and you are too stupid to see through the fog at how glorious and benevolent and good your president is. It's like 1984. Right. Don't believe your eyes. Don't believe your ears. We will tell you what is right because you're too stupid. It's crazy to me.
Well, I mean, look, and I want the American people to think about this, like rats on a ship. Anytime the Democrats, usually there's no sunlight between them, right? They're usually lined up like, jackboots with no sunlight. And anytime you see Democrats fleeing their own party, and they're fleeing, you're in deep crap. You're in it. Okay, you're hip to yet. You're in the sewage river, and you saw Barack Obama drive Joe Lieberman from the party, and now you see Manchin, Sinema. There's a congressman in South Jersey that represents Wildwood that Trump just had 80,000 people on the beach, which is my old stomping ground, South Jersey beaches, Jersey Shore. They are fleeing. They're fleeing. These are public people. And look, there's a change in the air because, the Republican Party shed some dead weight too. We've shed, the Jeff Flakes and the Romneys. That's fine. That's good, right? That's good. Every time there's a turn and there's a little bit of upheaval and you get a disruptor, because that's what Trump is, right? He's the great disruptor, right? Lincoln was the great emancipator and Reagan was the great communicator. Trump is the great disruptor, like an immune system flying towards a virus, like white blood cells. That's what he's like. And look, you're seeing them leave. So if you've got public Democrats fleeing, imagine what it feels like, ladies and gentlemen, to be the regular folks are fleeing too. The traditional voting blocks are moving towards Trump. Now, I don't think they're moving towards the Republican Party, ad hoc or like in total. They're moving towards him. They're moving towards him because he's a once-in-a-generation character like Teddy Roosevelt and, Andrew Jackson. And we've talked history of that before, you and I. So that's what I think's happening. So the question is, can the Republican Party that has become more multi-ethnic, more blue-collar, less fancy white people with the Peloton and the pumpkin spice lattes, less of that, the whites in the whitest neighborhoods in America with the Black Lives Matter flag flapping in the wind, virtue signaling for all of us to look at me, the whitest people in America, for all to see. And they've got the signs. Stephen, your audience knows the signs, the multicolored sign, love is love, and, give French kiss Hamas, and in this family we vaccinate newborns and all the rest of it. So, Trump is peeling these groups off. And that's a coalition. It's a real coalition. It's a coalition that Reagan had. It's a coalition that Nixon had, that Eisenhower had. So, I think it's scaring them. Because they're all the old tropes and the scariness and insurrection and democracy's on the line and all. None of that stuff's going to work, like you said, when inflation is through the roof, poor communities being flooded with illegal aliens, fentanyl, sex trafficking, raising taxes, getting rid of gas, lawnmowers and gas leaf blowers and cars, and the doors are blowing off airplanes. I mean, look, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria, right? So yeah, I mean, I think Trump at least can capture these groups. Whether the Republican Party, who's for the most part, is run by a bunch of sort of stiffs. Still, I'm here. I'm in Washington. I'm telling you, I've lifted up their skirts. Mitch McConnell's still under there. Paul Ryan's still under there. They're trying to run the clock out on Trumpism. So we have to stick to it, man. We have to keep it rolling.
Yeah. Well, that's why I like Vivek, where he says, listen, this is a movement that we have to keep moving forward. It can't just be one person. I love Vivek. He's been on the show 3 times, but we need somebody like him, someone like you say, J.D. Vance, that has the courage.
I think DeSantis, you're going to see DeSantis. I'm going to tell you something right now, okay? From my sources, and you can tell the audience later all the different Trump people. I mean, you've named some of them. DeSantis is still in the mix for vice president. And you're going to see DeSantis on the stump soon, okay? So, yeah, DeSantis is a warrior. He might have had the wrong consultants, but Vivek and DeSantis in particular, they were as likable as they were and were polling where they were outside of Trump, silver medal, bronze medal, because they're taking the fight to the enemy, whether it's against wokeism, whether it's against, American adventurism abroad, trying to turn these countries into, South Dakota. I don't care whether it's Ukraine or Iraq. It's not really a good idea, right? So we're sending blood and treasure and weaponry to places that have never been functional places. They have been dysfunctional places forever, most of these places. So, we're not sending guns and ammo to Rhode Island. We're sending it to, the dumps of the earth, as I like to call it. Someday I'm going to do a book called Earth's Dumps, and I'll just profile. And then I'll bring you in, and you and I can do an analysis of how much money in each one of these little porta-johns we have flushed down the drain. And what have we gotten for it? Not much.
Just this morning, Babylon Bee had a picture of the floating pier off the beach in Gaza sinking, $320 million sinking after like 1 week, and it said Biden administration, to save time next time, will just dump $320 million in the ocean.
Yeah, just dump it into the Mediterranean. Yeah, just put a big wood chipper on the beach at Gaza and just fire it into the ocean. I mean, look. It was never a good idea to be the architect of, and God bless the Army Corps of Engineers, whoever the hell built this thing. I mean, they're doing their best, and there is a chain of command, even though at the top the fish rots from the head. The port of Hamas, never a great idea. The bridge and tunnel squad of Hamas, the port of Hamas. It's really the Fisherman's Wharf of Hamas. Not really a great idea to do anything on behalf of Hamas. They made their bed. They're going to have to lay in it with a couple bunker busters coming into the bedroom if I get my way.
No. Okay, I want to go back to what you said about Ron DeSantis. I'm actually really glad to hear that DeSantis is about to step in and be a big player. I really believe he got bad advice. I think if someone had said to him, Ron, I want you to say, I'm going to continue to be the best governor America has ever had. And if Donald Trump taps me for vice president, I would be honored to serve my country. Until then, I'm going to keep my head down and support Donald Trump. He would have been the number one pick. America, I think, would have gone crazy. Unfortunately, he went down that path. I'm grateful that they are mending their broken fence between the two of them. as they say. But I am so grateful to hear that he's about to come out strong, because he is a great speaker. He has incredible ideas. He understands the law on a level that most people don't. And he's got balls, big balls. I love it, Sure. So I'm excited for him to jump into the game.
Well, look, to be any type of politician, and to even do what you and I are doing right now, there is a heavy quotient of ego involved. Wake up in these politicians, they wake up in the morning, and make no mistake, DeSantis' resume is impeccable because he's been probably running for president in his own mind his whole life. Ted Cruz's resume, amazing. Ted Cruz never really recovered from, lying. Look, Ted Cruz is going to be out there like Barry Goldwater forever and be a fighter for liberty. You're never going to be able to take that from him at all. DeSantis, knowing that Trump was term limited out, and knowing that, that with some paperwork, like Bush and Cheney did, because they were both Texas residents, that Trump and DeSantis, both coming from Florida, Trump just needed to change his address to New Jersey for a day or whatever the hell, or anywhere in Virginia. He could make his address, here where I'm at, and it could be the Trump Winery. It could be his address. My point is, he didn't need to go out there and be a bullet sponge, but he did. He did. A lot of the Ted Cruz people, especially our friends, some of our clients, people in the media, you know who they are. You don't need me to list them all here. They were the Cruz people in 2016. They were the DeSantis people this time. Not all of them have come. They're still, licking their wounds a little bit. And with that said, DeSantis did not get nuked the way Cruz did. Cruz had all kinds of stuff flying at him. DeSantis could have waited, and knowing that Trump was either going to be president or and term limited out, or it wasn't meant to be. He's still governor. He's going to be governor. He's going to be governor, I think, until 26. So do your thing. Be the best pit bull wingman possible, right? They could be like, Butch and Sundance. And then, wait your turn. But, it's a whole thing in politics, that you get these DC consultants around you. You get some of these lifers, these Jeb Bush type, consultants. And believe me, I'm around them here in DC. They're afraid of me, so they're nice to me. Because I'm one of the few sort of MAGA people that has broken the Beltway matrix. I've been in here for 20 years, but I have, a swamp force field around me. So, the Republican Party has changed in 20 years, believe me. This place was run by Bush people 20 years ago. And they went through these weird growing pains with McCain and Romney, and here we are. Trump is, he moves around like a spring chicken, but he isn't one. And look, I'm Irish Catholic, and after every St. Patrick's Day, as good as I look on camera, guys, I'm joking, the liver never forgets. So with Trump, he's good. He's certainly, has got the tenacity of an MMA fighter, but, he's not 55. He's not 45 like DeSantis or 46. So, he's not going to be able to do this forever. So there will be an heir apparent. And certain people, J.D. Vance and others, made a specific calculation. There's problems with all these people. But at least with Vance, he came from nothing. Hillbilly Elegy, right? The book, the movie. It's a great movie. It's a great book. I don't think he woke up every day and saw a politician his whole life. The same thing with Vivek. So there are some people out there that didn't do that, right? So you always have to be careful, when you're dealing with some of these attorneys, former federal prosecutors, people that were governor or senator for a long period of time. They sort of worked their way up. there's always going to be skepticism, at least in the Trump era, which is very similar to the Jacksonian era, of career politicians, no matter what. So that's the issue here. And I think, with DeSantis, he got dinged up a little bit with that. But if you're going to have a career politician, he's done a fabulous job with Florida. You can't take that from him. And let's be honest, he flipped a couple counties like Palm Beach County and Miami-Dade County. He didn't win Broward, but he flipped some counties that no one even dreamed of flipping. They never dreamt of flipping it. So that you need someone who can do that. But like we talked about earlier, Ohio and Florida seem to be in the bag. So the question is, can we get Georgia back? Can we make sure North Carolina doesn't slide any farther? Can we get Arizona back?
I think he might pick up Virginia, which the polls are showing he's trending to overtake Biden in Virginia. Okay, I want to talk about your new book, The White Privilege Album. It is funny. It is humor mixed with honest, good data. I think people are going to love it. But I have one more question for you based on something you just said. So I'm looking at Biden, and Democrats are saying he is rock solid with the Black community. He's done so much for the Black community. Ignore all the racist comments and anti-Black laws that he passed in his previous career. But now they say he's rock solid, which we know is a lie. And I keep thinking about how he is going about romancing them into giving their vote, right? So in order to retain the Black vote, instead of using charm and promise and commitment, at Morehouse College, he tells educated Black Americans, you won't succeed, you're a victim, you'll likely be killed, and even though you love your country doesn't love you back. Then just yesterday, Biden said in Philadelphia, it's a good thing Blacks weren't in the crowd at January 6th, or else Trump wouldn't be trying to free them from jail. What do you think of Biden's approach to romancing Black people into giving their vote again?
Yeah, look, it's terrible. He might be able to get the vote of Corn Pop, but I can tell you, from the professional athletes to some of the Black entertainment community to the people that are being blocked from, if you're in Richmond and you're on the Petersburg side of Richmond, and for those out there who don't know, I'm about an hour and a half north of Richmond right now. Richmond's the capital of Virginia, but it was also the capital of the Confederacy. The Union burnt most of it to the ground, just like Atlanta. Slaves were freed, but a large contingent of Black people stayed in the Richmond, suburbs area. And, Virginia has, especially if you go down towards Hampton Roads, and you go down towards, Newport News, and there's been some famous Black people that have come out of there, Allen Iverson and others. They are flooded with illegal aliens for various reasons, and they have inflation going through the roof. Virginia is actually more like a northeastern state at this point than a southern state. And the thing is, when you talk to Black people like that, they see, in the old days, they could rely on their cable news sycophants and the liars in the newspapers of America to basically spoon feed them the lily white Democrat talking points about how they're the white saviors of the Black community. But that is no more. They are getting their news a lot of different ways, and they see what's streaming across TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and Rumble just as easily as any conservative does. They can feel it. They can feel it at the grocery store. They can feel it when you hit fast food restaurants with an increase in minimum wage, and not just a little increase, a crazy one, that trickles down to the cost of everything. And in some nights, Monday through Friday, that's the only thing some people in poor communities have. And, you're talking a Big Mac meal approaching $17. That's for one person to eat. And if they want to sit in there, you look at the receipt next time you go to Wendy's or Burger King. And if you're in Philadelphia or Baltimore or Richmond or Detroit, you will see something called a dine-in tax. Well, when you got a Burger King in the ghetto, who's dining in? Right? Probably a black mother, single mother with her children trying to get off the streets for a respite from a high-crime, defunded police neighborhood. You can thank the Democrat Party for all of this. You're paying more for all of it. For Wendy's, for Taco Bell, for, the lack of police and inflation at the grocery store, $6 eggs, gas prices, metro prices if you don't have a car. Most of these people don't have a car. I know, I'm in Nebraska. We all have cars. Listen, they're using public transportation. That has gone up. So they are squeezing the underserved communities, black and brown communities. They're squeezing them. And, you've got crime going up. You've got fentanyl pouring in. And they expect these people to vote for them because you go to an historically black college or university and you pander like this. They are not dumb. They are not. They think they're dumb, which is racism in and of itself. And I just want to make one point here, especially for the people that have watched some of these pro-Hamas eruptions that have happened on college campuses in America. Guys, have you seen a pro-Hamas, crazy, out of control, anti-Jewish, anti-American protest erupt on any HBCU colleges? Have you seen that? Historically black colleges, universities. Have you seen any of them erupt and behave like UCLA or Columbia or Yale? No. These people are so thankful to be getting an education, and he's talking down to them. Him and Corn Pop. They're not rioting. They're excited to go out into the world. This might have been their only shot, you fraud. So who's leading these things? Lily, white, liberal, left-wing, humanities department kooks that don't go to HBCUs, that don't go to, Howard or Morehouse or any of these places, right? Interesting. No one wants to make that connection. No one wants to make, oh, wait a minute. You mean to tell me the all-black places are behaving themselves? No, that can't be true. It is true. It is true. UCLA should be ashamed of themselves, right? Penn State should be ashamed of themselves. UVA, home of the very fine people, should be ashamed of themselves with the tent cities and the anti-Semitism. But it's not the all-black colleges. It's not the all-black college. I just wanted to make that point.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. I was so focused on Yale and Columbia and UCLA that I didn't pick up on that. But yeah, I just thought, wow, politicians are supposed to be charming, and telling people, how awful their life is going to be just seems like such a terrible way to, charm somebody in the direction that you want. AJ, I want to hear about your new book, The White Privilege Album. It is a mix of satire, journalism, truth serum. Tell us what we're going to learn about when this book comes out.
Well, look, I've kidnapped the term white privilege because it's something the left throws around, and I've abducted it, and I've sort of explained what it is. What are they really talking about when they use this? Now, look, not all civilizations are created equal. It's just a fact. It is. There was only one Rome. There was only one British Empire. There was only one Ottoman Empire, on and on, right? ancient Israelites, the Ming Dynasty. You can go on and on. So they're not all Western. But when you hear the term white privilege, you should applaud it, because what the left is really talking about here from their ethnocentric Marxism is three things in particular when they talk about, and look, I touched on this a little bit in The Walking Dead, which was volume 1 of which will be a series of books. And the White Privilege album is a sequel to The Walking Dead that you can see behind me. Look, in order to remake America, and in particular the West, in the bleak image of the left, which is this sort of, weird, sort of paper mache of all different types of isms, you have to destroy the nuclear family first on a micro level. It has to go. This is why Black Lives Matter said it had to go. It was on their website. Had to go. Right? So when you hear white privilege, in some instances, that's what they're talking about. Go a little bigger. The middle class. In order for Marxism to exist, you have to crush the middle class. You have to do this. That way you can have a ruling elite, and then you can have all the peasants that get, oh, please, master, feed me my dinner, feed me my breakfast, give me my health care, pay for my car, pay for my Obama phone, pay for my, underwater lesbian basket weaving bachelor's degree, right? So you have to destroy the nuclear family, you have to destroy the middle class, and essentially you have to destroy Western civilization. So the book is a defense of the nuclear family, the middle class, and Western civilization. Western civilization, like I said, not all civilizations are created equal. You can thank Pat Buchanan for that line. It's true. I'm sorry. It's just a matter of the timeline of history. And, it's not being taught. But I'm talking about the Greco-Roman Judeo-Christian civilization. Right? That's what I'm talking about. We have given more to planet Earth than most, shed blood, sweat, tears, treasure. I mean, the American people went to war with itself to end slavery. Great Britain did it with an act in Parliament. It was, wasn't 60,000, people dying. It wasn't thousands and thousands of people dying every day to do it, but we did it. And Americans died on both sides, not just one side. So, look, you know me. If you've read The Walking Dead, I write the way I talk. There's a lot of fun in the book. There's more humor than there even was in The Walking Dead. I poke fun at the left a lot. We get into, some of the fake race hustle media narratives that have taken place, everything from the patron saint of fentanyl, George Floyd, through the Very Fine People hoax. And look, the subtitle of the book is, and we plan on doing this, bringing racial harmony to very fine people on both sides. And that's what we plan to do. We plan to bring harmony through humor to all the very fine people, and they are on both sides. Because like this show, I think, illustrates, like our discussions do, and like everyone from Bill Maher to Joe Rogan to Tucker Carlson illustrates, we are all Americans first, and we have way more in common than we do not in common. And you need to stop letting, the people that scream white privilege or scream about the patriarchy or scream about toxic masculinity or The Walking Dead, which are cultural Marxists, we have to stop letting them divide us, divide our children, and put us in our little identity boxes like Western civilization is some kind of a la carte sushi menu. We are not. And quite frankly, we're not multicultural. We have one culture. We're multi-ethnic, yes, but we have one culture. Western civilization, American culture, that's what we have, right? We have three colors, red, white, and blue. So look, we're going to have some fun. The book is out in September. We are driving pre-sales now. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. it'll be out just in time for the election. So it'll be out in September, right after Labor Day. Order your copy now. We are trying to, again, make the cultural Marxists angry by moving up the Amazon chart.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for it to come out. The Woking Dead was awesome. So fun. I found myself reading it and then going to Google to verify what you were saying. And then I was like, wow, okay, I guess he's right. I didn't know this. I'm glad he pointed it out. So I think that's exactly what people will find is humor and facts mingled brilliantly together. Thank you so much for coming on and all that you do. And I will put some direct links down below. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Hey, brother. Look, have a good summer. We love your audience. You got an audience of patriots. It's always fun to be here. And I know the comment section, I hope will get lit up when we go live. I love your audience. You have one of the greatest audience in all of podcasting, and I truly mean that.
Yeah, I think so too. Hey, thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, sir.